You thought she left because you weren't good enough. That's a lie. She left because you weren't strong enough. Strength isn't about muscles. It's not about shouting. It's not even about money. It's about frame, about presence, about the silent authority that a man carries when he knows who he is and what he stands for, even when no one's watching. Especially when no one's watching. The modern woman, for all her noise about equality, still follows an ancient script. She tests. She scans. She probes for weakness, not to be cruel, but to survive. She doesn't want to carry you. She wants to feel safe next to you. And she can't feel safe with a man who's always second-guessing himself. She will never say this aloud. She might not even consciously realize it, but her body knows. Her instincts know, and when they sense weakness, they retreat, or worse, they attack. You think love is what she wants. No. Love without strength is a liability. You offered her comfort. She wanted certainty. You offered attention. She wanted direction. You gave her your time. She wanted your conviction. She can get comfort from 1,000 sources: Netflix, friends, social media, validation loops. But the masculine presence of a man who cannot be moved, that is rare. That is primal. That is what her biology is wired to respect. You've been trained to believe that niceness equals value, that compliance wins affection, that emotional availability equals connection. And that's why she can't stand you. You think your vulnerability is a gift. She sees it as a warning sign, not because you cried, but because you cry to her, because you collapse into her as if she is your refuge. But she is not your refuge. She is the storm. And no woman respects a man who seeks shelter in her when the lightning hits. You don't understand that modern femininity is starving for grounded masculinity, not the fake alpha act, not the get-rich-quick bro branding. The real thing. The man who doesn't need her approval to move. The man who can walk away, not to hurt her, but because he refuses to abandon himself. The man whose standards are sharper than her seduction. She doesn't want to lead. She just needs to know you won't fold when she pushes. And she will push, not because she's broken, but because she has to know you won't break. She's not looking for romance. She's looking for gravity, for a man whose soul is so rooted in purpose that her emotions don't shake his mission. She wants to feel small next to that, not in value, but in chaos, because the feminine lives in chaos. It is beautiful, it is wild, but it cannot respect what it can control. You think she wants a man who listens to her every complaint, bends to her every whim, and sacrifices his edge in the name of empathy. She doesn't. She wants to feel your spine. She wants to feel the part of you that will not yield, even to her. And if she can bend you, she will break you, just to see if anything real is left underneath. The modern man has been tamed into submission by false gods, political correctness, emotional overexposure, moral relativism. He walks around apologizing for his masculinity, for his ambition, for his dominance. He has traded power for politeness, truth for acceptance, leadership for likability. And women? They smell it. They feel the absence of force, the absence of center, and it repulses them, no matter what they say on social media. She might post about wanting an emotionally open man, but watch what she does, not what she says. She sleeps with the one who doesn't need her. She chases the one who holds frame. She tests the one who won't flinch. Because biology doesn't care about tweets. Biology cares about protection, about legacy, about instinct. And weakness, especially emotional dependency, signals danger to her survival drive. That's why she mocks the nice guy, not because he's kind, but because he's manipulable. He adapts to her emotions, like water takes the shape of a glass. She doesn't want water. She wants fire in a controlled furnace, heat with structure, power with discipline. You've mistaken her smile for love. It wasn't. It was relief. Relief that you hadn't disappointed her yet. But that smile fades quickly when she senses you're orbiting her instead of your own path. The second she sees your soul is for sale, she loses interest. Because if you'll sell yourself for love, what else will you sell? She's not here to rescue you. She's not your mother, not your therapist, not your goddess. She's your test. And the man who passes is not the one who loves her most. It's the one who loves his mission more than her moods. And here's the brutal paradox. The more you center your life around her, the more she pulls away. Because now you've shown her that your center can be moved, that your crown is borrowed, that your self-worth rises and falls with her attention. And no woman, no matter how nurturing or evolved, can feel safe in the arms of a man she can emotionally destabilize. This isn't about dominance. It's about direction. She wants to feel pulled into your current, not forced to drag you through hers. You think being available is love. She sees it as proof that you have nowhere else to be. You think compromise is healthy. She sees it as weakness in disguise. Because when you start compromising your core values just to keep her calm, you are not being a man. You're being a hostage with a smile. And make no mistake, she knows it. She may never admit it. She might not even understand it consciously. But deep down, she feels it. She feels the lack of polarity, the absence of tension. And with no tension, there is no spark. You're just safe, predictable, disposable. True masculine energy does not ask for permission to be. It does not need to be constantly validated. It moves forward with or without applause. It invites her in, but it does not chase her approval. It can love deeply, fiercely, truly, but never desperately, because desperation kills attraction, always. You were not meant to be her emotional support pet. You were meant to be her standard, not her escape from reality, but her reason to rise above it. Most men never make it past this point. When she begins to test them, when her warmth turns to cold, when her admiration shifts to critique, they panic. They double down. They beg, over-explain, over-apologize. But they don't realize what's happening. They're not being rejected. They're being measured. She's watching to see if your spine will hold. And the moment it doesn't, she knows you were never who you said you were. Modern men think relationships are about making her happy. No. Relationships are a battlefield where you're constantly being evaluated without words. And it's not because she's evil. It's because her nervous system is searching for strength. You were taught to seek peace with her, but nature designed her to seek peace through you. And if your world is unstable, if your values sway, if your energy fractures under pressure, she will not trust your love, because your love is tied to your fragility. She doesn't want a king who needs her approval. She wants a king who builds a kingdom so complete, so internally rooted, that inviting her in feels like a gift, not a grasp. And here's the truth you've tried so hard to avoid. She does not want to complete you. She wants to complement you. And if you are not complete without her, she will never feel safe with you. Your wholeness is the prerequisite for attraction, not your charm, not your abs, not your words. Wholeness, that quiet gravity of a man who needs nothing but chooses with clarity. The man who would rather walk alone in truth than kneel for a taste of connection rooted in fear. But that kind of man is rare, because to become him, You must die first. Not literally, but psychologically. You must kill the boy who thinks love is earned through sacrifice. The boy who believes that women are the answer to his emptiness. The boy who was trained to obey in order to be adored. He has to die for the man to be born. And make no mistake, she is not your enemy. She is your mirror. Her rejection, her withdrawal, her disrespect, they are reflections of your internal state. You're angry at her, but you should be angry at the parts of you that gave her control in the first place. You call her cruel, manipulative, unstable. But she only took what you offered. She only mirrored what you lacked. The truth is, if you were fully grounded, she wouldn't even try to control you. She wouldn't test your limits so violently. She would relax. She would soften. Because women surrender naturally to the presence of true masculine leadership. Not to words, not to demands, to energy. And energy doesn't lie. You can fake your confidence. You can fake your purpose. But your nervous system doesn't lie. Your energy tells the truth. And she hears that truth even when you say nothing. She feels it in your silence. She reads it in your eyes. She senses when your love is wrapped in need. And the feminine does not trust need. She wants to feel your fullness, not just your feelings. She wants to know that your life has momentum beyond her, that your identity isn't hanging on the thread of her affection, that if she vanished tomorrow, your world would not collapse. It would continue to ascend. This is why most men lose, because they invest in her before they've invested in themselves. They build their confidence on sand, on her smiles, on her validation. And when the tide shifts, they drown. Not because she was unkind, but because they were unanchored. You cannot lead her if you haven't mastered you. You cannot guide her if you still need her. You cannot protect her if her moods break your purpose. And purpose, brother, is the only thing that separates the masculine from the male. There's a reason she pulls away when you become emotional glue. Not because she's heartless, but because biology doesn't lie. Her instincts aren't drawn to comfort. They're drawn to certainty. And you, when you pour yourself into her like she's your purpose, you stop being certain. You start floating, orbiting, hoping she'll stay. But women don't stay because you hope. They stay because you lead. Leadership isn't about barking orders. It's about owning your presence so fully that she wants to be near it. It's about walking forward regardless of who follows. And in that walk, if she sees something real, something grounded in values, direction, resolve, she aligns. Not because you chased, but because you became something unshakable, something that cannot be seduced by chaos. The feminine is always testing for cracks in your frame, not maliciously, but instinctively. She doesn't even know she's doing it. But every sigh, every mood swing, every contradiction is asking the same question. Can you hold this without losing yourself? And if the answer is no, if you react, rage, collapse, then she knows she must lead. And the second she feels that, attraction dies. Not slowly, instantly. She wants to lose herself in a man who isn't lost. She wants to melt into someone who won't evaporate under pressure. She wants to know that your love is strong enough to include her, but not be dependent on her, because dependency suffocates desire. And that's the curse of the modern nice guy. He's so eager to be chosen, he erases everything about himself that made him worth choosing. You want to know why she ghosted you, why she stopped respecting you, why she pulls away after you gave her everything. It wasn't because you were too much. It was because you were too available, too moldable, too emotionally accessible. You didn't give her a man. You gave her an emotional sponge. You thought deep talks and soft eyes would win her. But she doesn't want a partner in overthinking. She wants a partner in certainty. A man who can walk her through her storm, not drown with her in it. She needs your strength, not your sensitivity dressed as need. She wants to feel your edge, not because it cuts her, but because it contains her. And here's what no one dares to tell you. Her tests won't stop. Not if she's feminine, because she's not testing to destroy. She's testing to trust. And the man who passes is not the one who pleases. He's the one who remains unshaken. She might cry, accuse, even push you away. And you don't chase. You don't explain your worth. You let her feel what life is like without your gravity. Because if she can live without it and feel nothing, then you weren't it. And if she can't, she'll return, not with entitlement, but with respect. Because the man who can walk away is the man she can finally lean into. And that's what she's been searching for all along. Not a rescuer, not a cheerleader, a pillar, a force, a man. You keep asking, what do women want? But that's the wrong question. The real question is, what do you stand for, even when she doesn't want it? Because if your masculinity is a costume you wear to be accepted, she will eventually see through it, and she'll run. She might not know why, but her body will scream, unsafe. Women don't want safety through control. They want safety through stability. You've spent your life trying to earn her love with flexibility, compromise, emotional exposure. But none of that matters if she doesn't feel your root, your center, that immovable line in the sand that says, "This is who I am, with or without you." Because when she sees that, something ancient awakens in her, something primal, something sacred. She doesn't bow to kindness. She bows to sovereignty. The presence of a man who has passed through fire and came out with conviction instead of scars. A man who has been broken, but chose not to stay broken. A man who knows he is the mountain, and she, the wild wind, tests his strength only to know it's real. And you? You've spent your life avoiding that mountain. You've begged the wind to stay calm. You've whispered your value into her ear, hoping she'd believe it. But you never became it. And so, she left. Not because she hated you, but because you didn't become what she could follow. Here's the final truth. She doesn't want to lead. She wants to surrender. But she can only surrender to a man who doesn't need her to. If your world falls apart when she walks out, she was your God. And she will resent you for it. Because no woman wants to carry a man's soul. She wants to join him on the path he already walks, not a path paved for her, not a throne handed over for peace, but a kingdom already built in his own blood, truth, and fire. The weak man dies 1,000 quiet deaths, each time he apologizes for his strength. Each time he shrinks to avoid rejection, each time he abandons his path to walk hers. And what does he earn for this sacrifice? Pity, tolerance, resentment, never love. But the man who chooses himself again and again without hate, without fear, that man is not just respected. He is remembered. So if you want to be chosen, stop trying to be liked. Stop performing. Stop collapsing. Become still. Become clear. Become complete. And if she can walk beside you, good. If not, walk anyway. Because the man who does not need to be chosen is the one no woman ever forgets.